I'm Samia, and I'm here at the Ralph Wilson Fieldhouse in the final days of the Buffalo Bills OTAs. And we're here to see what the day in the life of Alan Wilson is like, the sports writer for the Buffalo News. I'm here with
Alan Wilson from the Buffalo News.
And we're here in the final days of the Buffalo Bills OTA. Now, Alan, tell me, where are you from?
I'm originally from Durham, North Carolina. Southern boy.
Wow, North Carolina. So how'd you end up in Buffalo, New York?
It's just a job. I think one thing in this profession, you tend to move around a lot. And, I've spent my time bouncing up and down the eastern seaboard from here to Orlando, Florida, and North Carolina in between. So I've moved around a little bit.
Wow. So how'd you end up writing for the Buffalo News?
Well, I was actually working in Rochester, and they gave me a call. I came up for an interview, and they liked the stuff that I presented to the table, and they hired me on the spot. So I've been here now for going on 17 years.
And how long have you been writing for sports? How long have you been doing sports writing?
I actually started full-time in sports in like 1989, but I also worked a lot in news, covering politics, education, because one thing I was always taught in school was that, you can break a lot of rules writing in sports writing, but you got to know the rules before you break them. And you learn those rules covering the news side. And so that's kind of how I was able to kind of develop first and then move full-time into sports writing in the early 90s. And that's pretty much what I've been doing ever since.
That sounds great. So Alan, tell me, what college did you go to?
I attended North Carolina Central University, one of our many historical black colleges and universities in this country. Graduated with a degree in English with a concentration in media journalism. And I kind of was lucky to jump right into the workforce right after college. And it's very rare for people to get a chance to work in a field that you study for. So I consider myself very fortunate to be able to do that.
Thank you. Can you tell our viewers out there who want to be in the sports media or sports writing field, do you have any advice for them, any tips?
Well, I would, obviously, education is the first step in all of this. Pursuing, journalism as a degree, bachelor's degree. And I think also while you're in college, two things that you should do is work on the college newspaper. That helps you kind of develop those reporting skills and those writing skills that you're going to need. I would also pursue internships because you get a chance to work for an actual newspaper or an actual television station or an actual radio station, whichever journalism field that you're interested in. So I would try to get those, because the important thing in this business as a writer is having clips. You have to be able to present clips. You have to present evidence of your work to a prospective employer. And in terms of television and radio, is all about developing, tapes of your work, interviews, stories, or that type of thing. So all of those things kind of builds together to allow you to get into this business. And it takes a little patience. Sometimes the job that you want is not available to you, but you just have to be persistent, keep knocking on doors, and ultimately one of those doors will open for you.
Someone told me you're going to hear 20 no's before you hear one yes. Is that?
Actually, I heard 25 no's.
25 no's before you hear.
Yes. But that's part of the process. I mean, when I got out of college, I must have sent out 100 letters inquiring about jobs in the newspaper industry. And I would say 98 responded. Most of them said that, well, I don't have the experience, or we're not looking to hire anyone right now. And that's all a part of it. You're going to get some rejection, but you have to be persistent. You have to be patient and know that if this is what you really want to do, you have to stick with it. And if you do, your persistence will be rewarded.
So now you're writing for the Buffalo News. Are you happy to be working in Buffalo, writing for the Buffalo News?
Yes. Because even though covering the Bills is my primary job assignment, I am able to branch out and do other things. I write columns. I'm able to write different types of feature stories in other sports, investigative pieces in other sports, not just football. So I think, being in this position in my career, it's allowed me to kind of spread my wings a little bit and explore other areas that I could, show my creativity. And that's the part of the job that I like more than anything else. I'm not pigeonholed into doing one thing.
Now, you said you primarily write for the Buffalo Bills, or write about the Buffalo Bills. Why is that?
Well, everyone at the paper, specifically the writers in the sports department, we all have different assignments. We call them beats. And my beat is covering the Buffalo Bills / the National Football League. And I have a co-beat writer, and we have people who cover high schools, just high schools. We have people who cover colleges. And we have columnists too, full-time columnists. So, everybody kind of has a job to do, an assignment to do. And mine just happened to be one of the higher profile positions, because a lot of it is because I've been there so long. But also too, I think, is the job that I've done. I've kind of earned the opportunity to be able to cover this thing.
It's so tough for you have to hang out with the Bills, all the time.
It's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it.
Someone has to do it, right? I totally agree with you. So were you a Bills fan before you came to Buffalo?
Actually, no. I grew up as a Dallas Cowboys fan, and don't tell anybody in town, but I'm probably still a diehard Cowboys fan. I think, and I've heard this from other people in other cities, that they work in cities that they grew up in, where they rooted for a team when they were younger. But once you start working in the business, covering a team, you kind of have to divorce yourself emotionally from that team, because you have to be objective in your writing, in your reporting. So you can't
put yourself in the story.
Right. You can't write with one hand and hold a pom-pom in the other. It's just not going to work. So I think that's one thing that I've always tried to do in covering this team, is I try to divorce myself emotionally from them. They have some nice guys. They have guys on this team you want to see do well, but when you're writing about it, you have to present the facts. And if they play poorly, you have to write that. Nothing personal, but you have to do your job. But if they do well, you shower them with praise as well. So I think that's part of the thing. You just have to, be objective in how you cover it, whether you're a fan of a team or not.
Well, Alan, thank you very much for your time. It was a great pleasure talking to you. I look forward to, keeping up with you over the season. And we will see you at minicamp.
I look forward to it.
Great.